Ladies and gents, welcome to Question Time Live, episode 144. Wow. Yes, I hope you're all having a good day. I was doing that to wake myself up a little bit then. I made the mistake of coming home a bit earlier, and I've just been sat having a moment. And if I'd had any more of a moment before I come on here, there wouldn't have been a Question Time Live. I think it would have been a very much Rick's asleep, no show kind of vibe. So yeah, there we go. But I hope you're all doing well. I hope all of you ponds are doing fantastic. I hope you've got some questions lined up for me, because if you haven't, I'll be gone. It'll be an early night. I need it. I need it. I actually managed this bank holiday. So Mickey, it was actually Mickey past comment. I've been quiet because I did Friday afternoon, I think it got to, and I literally just said to Carl, says, Carl, I fucking got to get out of here. You don't often hear me say that very often at all. Very, very rarely. The energy doesn't deplete too much. The passion's a great driving force for that. But it's been so full on 7-day weeks, long hours. It has been intense. And my body just said, whoa, you need a break. And yeah, chilled over the bank holiday quite a bit, phones down, everything off. Yeah, and back to it. I say that we didn't make the whole. It was the Saturday, Sunday, because me, myself, Dan, and Chris. Me, Dan, and Chris were in on because Dan's back up again at the moment. We're in on Monday, getting cracked on because I've been doing it all week again. I'm sure you know. I know this one. You know, today's Tuesday. The amount of times I've referenced today to Tuesday and things being tomorrow being Wednesday, or thinking it were Wednesday, it really messes with my head. Bank holiday weekends. So and yeah, we could be gone again before we know it, won't it? How crazy. Anyway, little reminder: questions, ladies and gents, questions. And let's try and mix it up a little bit. Those of you who are tuned in, there's some old stories or something you might want me to tap into. Get them in. Other than that, I think I did a little test earlier, so I will mention this a few times. Oh, Alan Tate's here. How we doing, Al? Long time no speak, pal. Yeah, I did a little test earlier on the site, and something I've been wanting to get done, and Dan has exceeded expectations on that, on just a whole new level. So you might notice we've been trialing around or doing it for some added value and entertainment. Even when we was on WhatsApp, I was doing the here on the live stream when we had auctions running, and running the auction on WhatsApp. So a few of you suffered through that with me. Yeah, having all kinds of things going on. Then we launched the new platform, which you can. I think is there any links below? I don't actually know. But it's Ricky Stoddart, nishikigoi.com anyway, where we're running all the auctions and bits from now. And I was doing the same thing there, just getting the auction up on the screen. But I knew I was not happy with that. That was never going to be the solution for it. And even if we wind all that back to many years ago, when I started doing auctions live on YouTube, with the lag issues, the whole rest of it, you name it, and I stopped because I knew the experience was just shite. And I said one day I will fix this and make this proper. And that little step today, a few of you joined me for, was actually that. So the site now, we've pushed a few things recently. There's all notification controls and bits and bobs on there as we're building out more and more alerts for various things. But we actually, Dan did it beyond my expectations even. So I now have the ability to have my a live stream running there on the site that works across all the pages. It works in conjunction with our own. So now he's even changed it. You can have the stream open. You can have the stream closed down and just have the audio. So if you don't want to look at my most of the time very tired face and you just want to listen in, you can do that. You can have the like I say, our own live chat open and watching the video, and then you can even, you know, with that closed, you can scroll between the pages, have it down, so you can physically be taking part in the auction, all on there, all managed by the site while the live stream is going on. And the test went rather well. We just did a couple of tweaks after, and I cannot wait to fully roll that out. And I will be fully rolling that out this Sunday, 7 o'clock. Get yourself there, and it's going to be a bit of a different format rather than just me thing. We're gonna make it to a bit of a talk show. One of the crew is going to be on with me each week. I think it's going to be cold this week because Chris and Dan are traveling, I think. So yeah, that's can't wait to see that execute. It'll just be one device, all there, no messing, slick as you like. So that's the one. What's that, Darren? It is Q&A. Okay, yeah, I'm going to bounce. I thought it was a Q&A. Yes, it is a Q&A, but we always have a catch up first of all before we get stuck into it. So we've got an hour. We've got plenty of time. Yeah. So that's all that bit. Cool, dreamy stuff. Very, very happy with it. And there was something else, and it's completely gone out my head after I just read that now. So yeah, I'm sure it'll come back to me at some point. Anyway, don't forget that. Oh, that's it. I've done the first finally, guys, because this is a big channel one. You know, this has truly been grinding my axes for ages when my channel isn't running how I'm used to it running. And there's just, without the personnel in place, it can't be done. I can't manage it. It's too much. So finally today, done a first test shoot. I think there's 4 or 5 of them booked with various candidates who we've done a kind of initial phase meet and some conceptual stuff, and then getting down to the shooting, because ultimately I want to see the end results, make sure I'm going to be happy with what we put back on the channel. But I get the feeling we're going to be close to getting that position filled soon and getting back to it, because honestly I have a list along my arm of subjects and stuff I want to tackle and get stuck into. I've had plenty of time to think about it while we've not been rolling out. So let's keep everything crossed that that will be filled very, very soon, and we can get firing on all cylinders with some proper quality content back on that channel. It's been little splurges and everything. To be honest, the journal video has not been doing masses of, because I think they would just be shite day to day, because it's the same madness just on repeat, going round and round and round. It's mental. So there we go. Right, when I opened this up, there was already a load of content. It's Ben. Look, Ben's absolutely blanket bombed us with stuff. So let us get stuck into the questions and keep them coming, ladies and gents. I have got I think I've just seen Ray mention it. I shared a video on the group earlier, my Miss Toyota Tatigoy. And I mean, my God, they're looking mental. And I've even had one up on the net for shits and giggles earlier to do a video. So I'm just pinging one over now. I'll share those at some point, including the individual one. Oh, right. Let's do it. Mickey, we'll get to that shortly. From the top then, ladies and gents, from the top. How do Tamasaba coat one directional flow if it's quite high in your polytunnel Well, yes, they're in them ponds. They absolutely love it. Tamasaba are just they're strong fish. They really are. They love it. And just as with the koi and the reason for it, they'll much prefer that to the old erupting mushrooms at the bottom drains that would be shoving them out of the water and pushing them down to the bottom. So yeah, absolutely no issues. It is the best form for them. They I think it does just as much for them as it does the koi and vice versa. Hi, Ricky. What is the best time of day to start first feed and what is the last feed? Saturday 24. So if you want to, I mean, if you emulate what I do, my, well, it depends actually, Tosai or Nisai, because I time it around what my total cycle is. Tosai on an every 2 hours cycle, I start mine at 6 a.m. That's it. On bigger fish, on the 3 hour cycle, I stretch out over, I start them at 5, I think, in most ponds and go on from there. So sometimes with the bigger fish, what I tend to do if it's a 5 o'clock start, about 4 o'clock, especially when it's as light as it's getting now. And I know it's pretty light at 4 o'clock. I just start off with a tiny spattering of food just to kind of wake them up and get things firing before hitting them with the heavier one at 5 and then onwards. And it can be sometimes useful to graduate the feeds for bigger fish, especially starting off a bit lower and building up throughout the day. Ben again, is it okay to use 0.75% salt when carrying out quarantine with koi? It's been discussed before, but there was a group chat about it in the Telegram group. 0.75 is not a level I use. I go up to about 0.6 as extreme circumstances when it's been higher, but it's really not advisable. It can cause a problem with scales, actually fish losing scales or being forced out as well. It's too much generally. 0.6 is about as much as I go. 0.6, 0.65 if you end up kind of overdoing it while it's there, but I don't like them being in that higher salt for a long time. And that's actually, I experienced some problems with some fish when I'd done it before. And when I was having a chat with Fujo, he was like, yep, experienced that one myself as well. So yeah, extreme cases, but 0.6 in conjunction with good temperature should be right for most things. There's certainly, you know, newly, oh my God, new arrivals, new imports. And I never set them straight into that either, you know, about 0.3, 0.4 to take the edge off on arrival, then only build it up if needs be. And often that's when we're around the sleeping sickness side of things or needing to deal with that. But unless it's needed, I don't take it up. And even when we're up around that 0.6-ish region, it's only ever for a couple of weeks and we get them back out of it at that point. You know, I class that more as a medicating kind of level versus 0.3, which is just a background level to help things, and pretty safe for most, to be in most ponds for a period of time as well. Are we going to have any WhatsApp auctions anymore at all? I like those, or have they gone now? And will there be pond side sales on the app? Sorry, it's a work question. I just wondered. Yeah, Ben, well, we're progressing towards the problem for us is the WhatsApp hasn't been sustainable. We built a great experience on there, which is the backbone of what we're doing. So you see, as we're transitioning things over, you've now got, you know, we put the live chat on there that's on there permanently. Now, I get at the moment, it's not like firing WhatsApp up, but our groups weren't always open for that anyway, just during the auctions. So that live chat is there, the auctions are there, the live chat's there, it's open for you all to go on there and use. The auctions itself, you know, there's actually more there around it. It's better structured. The whole process is streamlined. The system that we've built for reducing errors along the way, because you just have to remember the scale that this has been operating on. And yeah, the whole selling on WhatsApp isn't sustainable. From where I actually started using it as a wholesale mechanism, and then, you know, moved it and transitioned it, and obviously it's pretty much become an industry standard. But there's things in it, you know, there's sometimes decisions where you're just leaving a door open for questioning, things like that. I just like, we've got it now in a professional, very slick format that everybody generally has been loving the changes. we've got the anti-snipe. There's just so much more we can do with it and building out. So now there's the live streaming that's going to be sat on there as well for certain events throughout the week. So you've got that, you've got the live chat. In our mind, we've got the delivery system, the whole thing. It is phenomenal. Nothing like it, end to end. Obviously the grow on fish management as well, and how all that's working. You know, this thing is unique and a unique experience in its own right. So we're fully backing it, and even now the communications for customer support, all the rest of it. WhatsApp, again, not sustainable for how we work. You know, when there's been 4 or 5 members, and you know somebody might get asked a question, it's not even really their department, and they've got to make sure it routes back. Now you can imagine that, you know, one or two of those isn't a problem. When you blow that up to dealing with hundreds of people, that becomes a problem, and it gets hard to manage. It makes us look shit, even though we're trying. So obviously, as this has launched out, again, a few hiccups along the way, dealt with it quickly, and now we can just keep building and building on the whole experience. And I must be I think it's cool as it is, but the best is yet to come. The Grandioso plan, which you will see this year, I think at that point, it will really make sense, and why I'm not even thinking about WhatsApp, and why I don't think you guys will be either when that bit lands. But no more on that. So yeah, from an auction perspective, I don't see how it's actually any different other than being slicker. So yeah, there we go. Any updates? No, I think whenever there's updates, I will 100% share them with you. I think just with how I generally am in this job, with everything, you know, stuff I like to keep under my hat until it is. There's a lot going on in the background, but sometimes finances linked to certain parts of it. There's all sorts. There's not an infinite pot of cash. There's a finite amount of time. There's all sorts. Obviously, I've got plenty of scheduling, planning, trying to get everything, quite a few bits done, which are coming up. So we'll get to it and see where we land on it all. And it's not something I'm sweated about any of it, because again, I've got my mind on the next 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, even. And actually, one of the biggest things I've learned, because I used to be the most impatient fucker ever, but one of the biggest things I've learned is to just take a breath, put a plan in place. And it's just basically, when the plan's there, it's just a case of knocking things off one by one and getting there and just persevering at it. So, but on that one, I can't wait. I'll take a moment to share some of the Miss Toyota stuff with you in a minute, because honestly, it's freaking mind-blowing. Evening, buddy. Yes, the Sankey were awesome last year. Is that the NND? We're in amongst it. Obviously, there was all 3 go Sankey, but again, just looking to finish off a few details. Obviously, I was supposed to be in Japan last week, which was going to get a lot of things tied up, and then happened. So it's fucked a few things up. You talk about curveballs, unbelievable. Anything I should do or be aware of to look after my fish's health, given my fish have spawning all day? Yeah, I think the biggest thing, Martin, there is your water, because that is going to absolutely tank your water ammonia wise. So that's probably the thing you just want to get in check the fastest, and then obviously give them some time to recover. Maybe a bit of salt might help you throughout that period. I was in Japan in March with my koi dealer, bought 2 crash koi from Marihiro, 70 cm, 70 plus cm. Nice koi. Do you know anything about the background, history, origin? I don't actually. It's something I've never delved into. I delved into his chagoi with him. That was, yeah, because I remember the first time I stayed away from Marihiro for a long time, because I just wasn't sort of impressed. There was a prominent sort of dealer or two at the time doing a lot of this stuff, and I was judging it too much on that. I'm not going to lie, thinking, what the fuck? Waste of time. And there was just nothing that seemed, no appeal to draw me there. Anyway, when I eventually did, I still remember the first thing I noticed was these Nisai chags, and you don't see that many of them very often. I looked, I went, oh, they're different. So I was doing more with his brother Marseille at the time. So typically you just think, and it's the natural association because they're brothers. You think, oh, the Chagoy. And I asked him, are these just from, because they look different. I still remember they got this huge slab head and really strong muscular body. None of the kind of sort of, you see a lot of Chagoy big ones, don't you, with the small head, sort of like a heavy gut underneath. I knew from that frame that was not going to be the case with it. When are these from your brother's bloodline? Yeah, started, it was the base and mixed things, and that's as much as you got out of him. It keeps a lot of it very, very close to his chest. But I would say, generally, and this is me just speculating, but I know how the farm works. They do not buy parent fish from anywhere. It's part of the pool as a family between the father, the main Marseille operation, and Marihiro is so incredibly vast, and their breeding skill in doing things from ground zero, so many varieties they produce, they can take something that might come out of there because it's the mindset. Remember, this mindset was one that took when Dainichi started their Botan spawning many years ago. The base was this huge Karashigoi they got. And then they went to Marihiro for advice on what else to do, because he was the guy, and it was just like this massive orgy, if you like, of just different fish in there, and yeah, getting an absolute scattering of all kinds out the end of it. And so there's a lot of talent. They're able to create stuff from within the pools that they've got. So my guess in Marihiro's case, the origin would have been the Marseille or the family Hirasawa Karashigoi stock, if you like, with whatever tweaks he's done along the way. It's very unlikely it's got origins in anything prominent that you would think of in this day and age. Evening, Ricky, and everyone in the koi community. Emma and myself are watching on the lounge TV. There we go. Hope it's 4K, Mickey, so you can enjoy all this beauty in fine detail, mate. Now then, right, Anthony, did Jasper ever get back to you about 1.2 optimal depth from room bed? I know that's the case with him. I can't remember what I was going to ask him, but 1.2, I remember that clearly. That was like, that's a great depth. So I don't know if it was deeper I was going to ask him, but it's a very good depth. Number 2, new toe side pond, new media, 25 degrees and smash through the cycle ASAP. Sprinkler salt in there, mate, and away you go. 100% is the way I would be doing it, especially if you're confident. Evening, Rick. Evening, all. Evening from sunny Spain, Craig, you jammy bastard. Evening, pal. I was buzzing my tits off when I saw the update on Mashiro. That'll make some epic Sansai. Yes, there we go. So Chris there, part of the platform again, fish that's growing on with me now, having it managed to send out structured updates, a size update video, and then potentially, if there's any further options, they get offered out at the same time. Very, very slick, if I don't say so myself. Good evening from Norway. Good evening from sunny Retford. Do you ever buy fish at the fry stage? No, because that's not something Japanese generally tend to get involved in. Can be done, quite costly, expensive. It's not like, obviously the shipping really buggers it all up, and a breeder's got to play his part. And as they've sort of said, even though they would typically throw it away, by the time they probably factor in the labor cost, prepping, holding it, doing it, all the rest, doesn't actually make commercial sense for them. The only stuff I've dealt in is my own stuff from Miss Toyota spawning this year, and we did bring some of those back really quite early in that whole part. Sorry, that's all internal bits. Yes, Ray. So there we go. I feel that that's like a fitting time to share this, and I need to load them up. So just give me a second. So since the Miss Toyota Grow Out event ended, I've got obviously the stocking massively reduced. in the 1,500-gallon pond that I'm using for these. Now, I've not tinkered with the temperature. It's still a bit lower at the minute, actually 22 degrees. I've kept the feeding up, and they have been bulking. They will be growing in length, but they've been bulking. That's what that program would do, and is doing. So I start with, it's never the easiest to see, but we'll show you this. This is there we go. This is in the pond. Obviously, you get a bit of glare in there. You can't really see the skin too much, but you can see how powerful they are looking, and they are still not 12 months old. I was actually looking back at that the other day. It's going to be early June before they hit that mark, and I mean, I am so happy with that as a pond of shower. But to say that's come from my own spawning from out there, from my own parent fish, the characteristics they have in that body. I think I did share one of these last week. This is a new one, by the way. Be crazy to see some progress between them. Savage look, absolutely savage. There's some cracking patterns in there. There really is. So many I'm excited by, and seeing the change now week by week as well, really falling in line with what I thought. As soon as I got my head around how strong the Danichi aspect was of their characteristic, helped me tune into what I would probably expect to see in their development. And then that is one from out of there. You see it up close. I mean, look. Just you kind of, let me dial that back to the beginning. It weren't very good. You sort of see in a minute, look, the hump, the height of the thing, the power, the structure there is just phenomenal. The pattern, skin, you name it, it's all doing the business. And that fish there is a prime example of how brutal the koi, I'm going to say, farming game is, because whether you breed it, get them small and raise them like I've done for a long time, it's the same. That fish is still exceptional. Wouldn't be cheap if I was to let it go. But the difference, if it just had that little bit more Benny on the face, I actually think it's going to be quite cool when the head was a lot more consolidated. I think as it grows out, that sumi pattern on there is going to look cool. But by the standards of Japanese caliber shows and all the rest of it, some Benny, more Benny on that face would so disproportionately increase the value of that fish. And there lies the ground for some of the content I want to get into, because I think I've spent enough time now preaching to you all about body and skin because I've wanted to. It needs to be the base level understanding of koi appreciation. But then when you get into it, a lot of the true value and the differentiator in value comes from pattern. Pattern is massive, but I've been very careful over the years not to make or blur the lines with all that, because that value of pattern is nothing without the other two attributes sat behind it. When you get a 3 out of 3 at a high level, that's when serious value comes. But it would disproportionately, that fish I've just shown you, a stronger Benny pattern on the face would disproportionately send it from expensive into the stratosphere, actually, with that, because it is, let's just show it one more time. Look, it is so good. All the Subo Sumi, that's actually in the process I've spoke of being a strong Dainichi Sumi, just falling back at the moment. It's going to be into Nisai onwards when we really get to see the strong inky black Sumi that is actually sat there. Awesome. So I'm absolutely delighted with that. I really am delighted, and banging, absolutely banging. Right, let me get back on track. Marco, still struggling to get on site. We're gonna have to put you on to Dan, mate. We really are. I'm not sure what's going on there, buddy. I want to know about grow food. Okay, Denise. If you want to come back to me and tell me what you want to know, we will give it a crack. It looks like Paul's collecting some fish tomorrow. Yeah. No, I am actually. I'm at my freshest in the morning. Always. It's this time of night when I'm a declining entity, big time. Ah, that's the one, Mickey. That needs a t-shirt with it on, doesn't it? It really does. Tom, just got that pond off the food, ready for netting up to get all that sorted. I just need to make a pond outside to move them out to begin with, or they're all coming out actually, and whatever's staying is going to get put into different ponds. It will. Yes, Craig. So I think I mentioned before I've just lost confidence in the execution on that. I think at some point will come in writing or somewhere. I'm concerned. I just see how information isn't clearly listened to and taken in, and it's just so important with how I'm using that treatment in general. So yeah, at some point when I feel completely comfortable with the execution or how it gets done, for sure, it'll be somewhere. But yeah, and there's a few bits I think previous doses and bits I've spoke about, people have picked up on and using successfully. And to be honest, as more time goes on, I'm more regularly, what I'm doing is becoming the absolute standard and the understanding of it. So I think as more time goes, there'll be less argument around a lot of it and where it's at and the ins and outs and all the rest of it. So yeah, but I will kind of just go with that. I know it's not that helpful, but your standard PP dosing that is on the packet is not going to be a lot of use to many people because most people do have organic loading in their system. So I mean, it's always worth, you'll get an understanding by doing a treatment, but the dosage, my standard dosage for years, I mean, Xori's packet dose is 6.8 gram per 1,000 gallons. My standard dose has been 10 gram per 1,000 for a long time. But I think you'll find my target is to keep it a very deep looking purple for around 4 hours for it to be high impact. If you can maintain that safely, you will kill skin flukes, absolutely batter them in most instances. There'll not be too much left, but it's actually getting there and getting there safely and understanding your pond environment. But the problem is there's so many variables, and this is what scares me, is that the dosage I'm currently using, if you went and applied that to very, very clean water, low TDS, high redox potential in it, you are going to cause yourself trouble. And you are. So, and it could be quite instant, the trouble it would cause. So yeah, it's there, but as a beginning part, what you can actually do to safely step it out is day one, you can do a treatment. So say you went in at the 6.8 gram per 1,000 gallon. If you've never used potassium permanganate before, especially, also bothers me. But if you have, you use that dosage, it's always important to monitor the reaction time. So 6.8 gram per 1,000, say you're using that, you pop it in. And what you'll see is most of the time in an organically loaded pond, that won't even maintain the same level as purple as it instantly goes in. Within 10, 15, 20 minutes, an hour, you've already started noticing a change. It's getting lighter, and then poof, it's gone. Most of the time, it's pathetic. So what you can do at that point is give the system a little clean your filter, top a bit of water up, because what you've got to also be careful of is treating with PP heavily will increase your manganese. Manganese is a toxic metal. Short-term exposure isn't all that bad. It's the longer term that's a problem here. But if you massively elevate a level short-term, anything like that, any time change can be stressful. But setting that aside, if you purge and discharge that, you don't want to be doing any neutralizing in between all this. When I say this now already, make sure you have got something to neutralize. Sodium thiosulfate is my choice because it's a proper neutralizer. Hydrogen peroxide is different because it's a more powerful oxidizer than potassium itself. So what happens is when you use that, the difference, it basically goes over the top of potassium and oxidizes that out the water, but it does also increase oxygen. Sodium thiosulfate will not increase oxygen, but by neutralizing it, a good system should, do the job. So make sure you've always got something on hand, and make sure you are present around the pond for the duration of that treatment until you know it is deactivated. Absolutely crucial. So what you can do is set out a program. So I'm still going to stand by it. Most ponds, unless you know your water's almost like drinking water, it's that clean. Most ponds will tolerate the 10 grams per 1,000 gallons of water. And when you treat with that, you can monitor it, see that reaction time, know when it loses intensity of color, and then when it's gone fully from purple to brown is your reaction time. So say that takes 20 minutes on day one. Little filter clean, get some of the residue out, little top up of fresh water. The next day you can do it again, because the point being, you should have, treatment one has just spent 20 minutes burning shit and organics out your water and oxidizing stuff. So the next day you get to your dose, it should last longer because it's already burnt a lot of the stuff out of the water. So you should get another reaction. And then you can go to day 3 and repeat the same process. You should get longer. Each time it's getting a bit more and more. Now, yes, manganese will be increasing, but that'll come down naturally after through your water changes. We know where it's come from. And I've used part of the program. If you watch the documentary, part of the program I put Martin's pond through was this 5 days consecutive of PP. I mean, after it, the water was fucking trashed. It was a right state. But when you pull the pond out of that, it can be quite phenomenal. Now, talking about trying to eradicate flukes with PP, you don't need to be doing that, but you could do a few days on the bounce, and you're doing it safer because you're gauging what the treatment's doing step by step, rather than say, you know, tripling up the dose up front all in one and potentially massively overdoing it. And it just builds your understanding of what the treatment is doing throughout it. But theoretically, each dose should hit harder and harder till it's doing something. Now, whether that'll be, it's getting to that end point. So you probably did a few days, I'd probably be wanting to leave it. Your pond, once you've cleared that through, the pond will be in a better position to go and hit it with other treatments as well, because you'll have cleared so much organic loading out of the water. But it might be that if you was going to consider it again, you know, you then have a gap of like a week in between that before you go at it. But from where I'm at, the dosage I'm using for the kind of one, you know, the low levels of flukes that crop up, the potassium at the dosage rate I'm using, and getting to 4 hours of proper purple. I mean that's not the color not really changing over that period of at least 3 hours, just staying consistently strong. That's where it needs to be. That's how a lot of breeders use it. But they, again, you know, they're very used to being able to get yourself out of it. Then what I'm doing at that time, if say 4 hours, it's still that active, generally you will start the fish. I will start to see the fish looking tired and ready. And then I neutralize it and get out and go from there. So there's a bit more for you, Craig, anyway. And like I say, with the rest of it, I think time's going to be the friend, and we'll see where we get. Hi, Ricky. New pond fish being in around 5 weeks. Ammonia spike is now 0. Nitrite is pushing up to 1+. Yep, that's it. Should I keep feeding level consistent and get through the nitrite, or drop it slightly? Really gauge it on your fish, Ben. That's very important. I don't know. Oh, there you go. You just done it for KH4. pH has gone up to 8.5 to 9, temp 20. I'd be, if your temp's at 20, if you can go a bit warmer, it sounds like you must be heated, get it up to like 22. You're going to help probably clear that nitrite a bit quicker. For me, I'd be tempted to salt at 0.3%, just so you know you're doing all you can to protect, and then just carry on as normal at that point is what I would be doing. Paul, my neighbour's garden is only 20 foot from my koi pond, had DJ blasting music for 5+ hours. Following this, koi have been spitting food out, sulking. Coincidence or stress? I would say coincidence. I'm going to go with, and I'd just check. I'd check everything out, Paul. To be honest with you, I could maybe get them feeling a little bit spooked or unsettled. If they have, they'll come back to it pretty quickly. They do forget stuff like that quite quick, but I think always worth just checking in, maybe getting a mucus biopsy done and make sure all's good, because we are at a precarious time of year. Okay, I'm a future hobbyist, fantastic, who aspires to having koi someday. Finances are tight and I want amazing fish by the time big pond gets built. Should I start with fry? You should start with what you can afford and what you're confident with. I would encourage everybody to start and de-risk it at that point. You're going to go through learning curves. You really, really are. So uh, I wouldn't want to do anything or encourage anything that's going to really hit you hard in the pocket, especially, and put you off. But there'd be nothing wrong with trying it with fry. The only bit I would say in it all is if you have a mindset where you potentially anything that goes in that pond, you're going to struggle emotionally or whatever it is to get rid of it, then be very careful what you're putting in up front, because filling a pond with fry, if you get into the hobby, and I'm sure a lot of you watching and be going, yeah, that's how it goes. You'll get 2-3 years in and absolutely regret having all these fish you don't want to get rid of because you love them, the kids love them, whatever it is, and you wish you had never done it. It happens frequently. Can antibiotic use, oral in koi, cause sensitivity to sunlight? Any advice for antibiotics for sun exposure? I have never heard that one, experienced that one, or anything. So I can't give you any answer on that. You'd want to speak to someone vet based that's got experience with the true effects of antibiotics. The one I am aware of is internal organs can be an issue. So got to be super careful with dosing and whatnot. Ian and Ricky, I know exciting times with new fish ready for collection. One question: do we get a brew or Midori at the collection event? A brew always. Midori is far too scarce for me to be going dishing that stuff out that easily. But you are welcome to bring Midori and leave it there as you leave. More than happy with that one if that's what you wish to do. Got a fish which had a consistent white lump on its lip for a few years. I diagnosed it as fungus and tried to treat it, but with no success. Would fungus have caused more harm over 2 years? I can't see it being fungus with it being a lump. Fungus is more of a cotton wool texture. It's likely that it's something along the proper words evaded me now, the sort of papilloma root, which is sort of like the pox family. There could be some of those in that group can be very, very stubborn and very hard to get rid of. Sometimes it can be antibiotics that could, or steroids, give it an immune boost for it to potentially clear it. Warming the water right up might help as well, getting its own immune system firing. Minimum temp you feed sake growth is 20 really too low? No, it's not too low. And if the temp drops below that overnight, should you base feed on the lower? Right, there's the point. So if you're not heated, you want to be careful, because that, to me, if you're at 20 and then potentially dropping below at parts, I wouldn't want to be feeding growth. At 20 you can. It's probably a Miss Toyota scenario there. I've actually got that pond at 22 at the minute, and I'm feeding as if I was at 25, still on a 2-hour cycle. What that does is starts creating more bulking. Systems handle it, though. The system's very well bedded into the high feeding as well. So for me, more 22. 20 is just getting very close. I mean, you can feed the growth at 18. The system will struggle processing it more. You can't feed it too heavily. It's the amounts that you put in. So yes, you can do it. It's just what the outcome of doing it is going to be. But I wouldn't recommend it if you're at 20 and unheated and dripping and swinging. That's with grow food, full stop. You've got to be really careful, because it is going to hit the pond and filters harder than a standard, more balanced food, if you like. Do you think the Japanese are shooting themselves in the foot by selling top koi onto the Chinese for breeding? From seeing some of the new breeds and the size of the setups, make me wonder why. Yeah, so everyone's going to have their own take on this, Mark, and I am one. My opinion is where it is. So let's go for it. When we say the Japanese, it's a broad blanket. Where things have changed and shifted is that Sakai has decided for whatever reason, and I'm guessing it's whether it's foresight or a financial offer he couldn't refuse. We don't know. We're just speculating. Where it's changed is Japan has been selling top fish to Chinese customers for years, fish that won grand champions, all the rest of it. Those fish have gone over into Asian markets, not just China, other Asian markets. Let's not forget other Asian markets have been breeding koi for years as well from Japanese parents. It's how it happens. And not always grand champion and top fish become awesome parent fish. There's a lot of know-how in between. So that's been there. That's been around, other countries make good, perfectly acceptable. Fucking Thailand make decent koi you can get from Japanese parents. So this has gone a step further, and Sakai has obviously done something that no other breeders have, and it is just them at the moment. They've actually gone and basically consulted and gave their whole breeding programs away to help the one particular farm really get ahead. And I can't remember the name of it. I've not followed it that much, and you can see, but what's there is, I still think when I'm looking at it, yeah, you can look at the flashy bits. How I've always analyzed a breeder over the years is not by their top fish, but by what their run-of-the-mill fish have to offer. Because let's face it, that's where most of us are buying from. So it can be all right having, that handful of top fish every year that you go, "Ooh, wow," when the younger fish are just absolute pap. And there is a few of them out there. So that's why I've always assessed it. We've not seen much of that. We've seen a few flashy bits. Now, anybody breeding fish, I could show you there. Like you see my Miss Toyota. There's nearly 30 fish in that pond there. Tatsigoya, 5 in Japan. So we're talking 35 fish there from my spawning. It was a small spawning. There's not been too much from it all to liking anything. So from a setup perspective, of course they're going to do it. There's been plenty of that over the years, but all the gear, no idea. I think it fits that one perfectly. Where that's differed is in the case of the one where Sakai has now got involved. We don't know, we say, the structure behind it. But again, how I look at that situation is Sakai is always going to be one step in front. They're the people teaching. They've had to give that knowledge, that information in order for them to quickly speed up to the level they've got to. And yeah, there'll be others. There'll be nice fish. Let me tell you, in most of the videos you've seen, have you seen anything other than Go Sankey? I haven't. I've seen a few of these videos now, and when it has, it's been something that's been imported, not bred. Do you think you're likely to see? I mean, let's face it, look, on there, what makes Japan so special is the level of diversity it's got from all them little breeders scattered in amongst the big ones. That the fact that when it comes to Go Sankey, there is so many different bloodlines and variations. You've got all this choice, and it comes from each of those individual breeders, decades and decades passed down knowledge, passed down parent fish, special old bloodlines, different quirks, characteristics, all backed by a cultural passion for delivering quality and excellence as well, not just delivering product en masse. It's them artisan guys that make Japan really special, the ones that figured out how to make a new variety, Taniguchi and his golden corn, or the ones that take Aoki. Aoki is a master of the weird and wonderful. Now, what he knows about that second generation from his father as well, shared information with Kase from those two guys over the years. That I believe is what's going to make that scene very unappealing. And I'm not sure they'll ever catch up in all them respects unless those guys, them small guys, will be super reluctant. I know it. They're the guys I try and pump information from constantly. I know what you have to do to get, or the level of relationship you have to get them to relax, to start sharing. So I think it's way more. You can just look at a few flashy bits on it, but Sakai's been the only one who's shared that, and because I believe they're structured, well, industrial mass production of koi, as my client once termed it. they've got a program that could be replicated and shared. If we look at the kind of the balancing force of Sakai, it's Dainichi. Dainichi's on a phenomenal run at the minute with the koi shows and all the rest of it. It's a different mentality. It's a Niigata mentality. There's a farmer's mentality there at the root of it. And they do things a bit different. Although Dainichi is massive and phenomenal, there's more of an artisan mindset at the root of it in the way they go about it. It's not all super data driven and this and that and all the rest of it. And that has mass appeal to me. And do I think I would see them guys doing in that? Do I fuck? Would they be happy to sell some guy from China, very expensive fish? Absolutely. Knowing that they might breed from it? Absolutely. Confident that they probably will never do anything with it? Absolutely, because there's so many other pieces of the puzzle they've got to put together to do it. And Dainichi, I mean, it's just generations and generations, produced one of the best classes of breeders around. So when I consider all that and I analyze it, that's where I am, and I'm backing that one, because Japan is not just, it's not, what we're seeing is just one thing at the minute. And for me, it's just my belief in life that knowledge trumps anything. Knowledge and experience is all powerful. And I've come up against it in my own career over the years. You know, people, very wealthy people stepping in, building crazy ass big facilities over here even, and all the rest of it. And I just sit back and even more in this day and age, I look and think, okay, you go and do that. If you knew what I knew and went and did that, fuck me, that'd be dangerous. But most of the time they don't get into that point. It tends to be 15, 20-year gap, 25-year gap, and it's not even something you can just employ that easily. In fact, you can't. It's just not, it's not out there. So it's a very, very interesting one. But I think, you know, Japanese product generally, obviously they have to compete against China in the export market, but it always has a special place because of the craftsmanship, because of the culture. There's so many bits that go beyond the koi part of it as well that I think make it all special and make Japan, or make koi what they are from a Japanese perspective, that can't be emulated. That's not the Chinese culture. And so if we look at it from a commerce perspective, so will they play a part? Yeah, if they stick at it. But will it become what Japan is? No, never. I don't think it will for 1 minute. And it might take a very long time, I believe, probably beyond my lifetime, for someone to turn around and go, you got that wrong. So yeah, great question, Mark. And that's my take on it. Yes, it is. Absolute monster, mate. Well, when I packed it, I thought, fucking hell, that is an absolute beast. Well, there you go, pal. You have to see. Might have some on Sunday for you. You never know. You never know. I presume that is on with the my Miss Toyota one I shared. Can't believe it. All that's took us on some right time, hasn't it? Luke, just a quick one on the Chag selections. I've got Dan here working on something right now, so I'm gonna, couple of days, we're gonna be there on it. But yes, we're close to having the announcement and everything set for that. Ricky, I'm having sudden issues with secondary Benny, mainly on heads, since having my new pond. Okay, any reason why it could happen? Seems to be all my Sankin, Willie Koaku. Could be a reaction. Oh, shit. I've saw it's just something in comments I've seen here a minute ago. Yeah, right. So could be. I mean, it could be a stress reaction, new environment, different water reacting. Obviously, this is a curious thing. You know, when your water finds a balance, fish can be very different in that to a new environment. Can just be something different. Maybe is it? I don't know if it's if you. I can't remember if you moved. If I remember right, or what it was, but you know, different waters, different environments, different circumstances produce different reactions, different light. There's lots of variables in all that, but sometimes if it's reactive, I have seen it. It can clear up if you correct what the reaction is, but getting to know it is a tough one. And then that was Paul saying, "Am I ready in the morning?" That's it. That's Paul is one of the guys coming to show me his skills with the videography tomorrow. Awesome. Right. Hey up. Whoa. Wife's getting one at kids are bollocking. Brilliant. Do Japanese breeders use any additives or secret ingredients in food or water to improve koi color or body, or is it success mostly genetics and husbandry? Yes, you've got it, Mickey. Husbandry, genetics, and I think a lot of it. Some a little bit more artisan might muck around with a few things, but generally, uh, those guys, myself, it's not even lazy, it's just reality, that's the secrets, the habit, those little bits, they're things for you guys, they're the hobbyist things. Commercially, a lot of it, we're too time poor to be doing anything crazy like that with consistency. So going, all in on the things that really matter, especially, and then getting a food that's the likes of sake that is so well-rounded anyway, and then obviously a color food, we have the tools, we get the tools to do the job. But yeah, secret ingredients are few and far between. I mean, you see Sakai are quite big on it, actually making their paste blend, but again, they've done it in a way that's manageable, it's consistent, it's good. And a few breeders, they do little bits, so, but it's nothing major. Hobbyist scene, however, absolutely loaded with it. There we go. It's on the PP. I am pretty new to the hobby. I just purchased a microscope. Can I ask, when I take a scrape, do I just put mucus on the slide or add some pond water to mucus? So yeah, how I do it, you've generally got your glass slide, you've got your cover slip. When I've got the mucus on the glass slide, I literally take a drop of water off my finger, just one drop that on, cover slide on, try and get the air pockets out, and away you go, Terry. Should be good as gold. Need some advice on one of my koi. It's been sitting down at the bottom of the pond. Then every now and then it will come up swimming with its head out of the water. It can't seem to keep itself. Could be just at a glance there from what you said, you jump straight to potentially looking at a swim bladder problem. That's when they're struggling with their swim bladder, their default is to just try and rest, because it is so much effort. The sticking its head out the water could be it gulping air or trying to correct it, but it's very tough. Best thing you might be able to do to help, but it's not a given, it is tough, would be some salt bathing. Salt baths might help. Sometimes warming up the water can ease the burden, but not necessarily fix it, unfortunately. On that one, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not too well averse. I know Brunel's is a go-to for me. They have some good kits, but I think the community, and certainly if you get into my Telegram group as well, there's some great advice in there. But I think community members would probably be more well adverse to telling you where they picked up some microscope bargains. Happy days, mate. Tell me all about that soon. Is it worth keeping a koi that's recovered from sleeping sickness? Unless it's absolutely battered it and caused it to lose all its pigment, which can happen from the stress of it, by the way. Absolutely, because once they've recovered from it, they've got the immunity to it. So they're the better ones to be having. I reckon I'm aiming to have my new pond 1.5 meter deep with a block K1 chamber. I wanted the bio chamber 1.2 meters. However, to make things easy, I have a single slab of concrete. Yeah, absolutely. More in that thing. We're talking about minimums rather than the maximums. So 100%. You boys. Timu go Sankey, that has cracked me up. Cracked me up. Luke, that's not the time, mate. Feel free to drop me a message through the site, pal, and I'll look into that and which fish it is and if that's possible. Hi Ricky, I use sake. Is it balanced growth or color? It's color primarily that would cause a bit of a tint because of the color enhancing effect. I bought an size Sankey from Yamamatsu about €1,500 and a few months second Benny appeared on the head. Unfortunately, it can. Maybe it disappear in future or not. It's rare. It's rare. Again, it depends on the circumstances. If it's just something reactive, like I explained earlier, sometimes it can. But if it's not and it's proper rooted secondary Benny, then the chance of it disappearing on its own is very, very slim. Brilliant. They're not very bendy, my arms, mate, at all. Oh, look at that, just in time. I've had mine, mate. It's just constant in it and deserved most of the time. There we go. Going out, excellent as always. Thank you very much, Alan. And there we have it, ladies and gents. We've hit the bottom. Happy days. Yeah, it's a good mix of questions on there. I think there's a lot of takeaways there that you've probably all found very useful. So last one I want to remind you of is, get your Sunday slot in for the new show on the platform. So we're going to be over on, it will be streaming on YouTube, but over on the website for the auction, you're going to be able to have the stream, a live chat and the auctions all on one device. Absolutely mega stuff. So yeah, but there's going to be some news. I will probably be running another test of that through one of the groups or on there anyway prior to it. And I'm behind again, but I have got a group of my smaller Saito Kohaku's photograph ready to get running on the website as well, which I'm sure people will be very, very keen on. So there we have it, ladies and gents. I'm off to cook a giant T-bone steak that I've got and tackle that bad boy. And other than that, enjoy the rest of your evening, and I will hopefully see you all next week. Thanks for tuning in.